I gave up on Japanese twice, burnt out both times, but now I finally found a way that works for me, even with a full-time job, and I want to share it with you today. Okay, I don't actually study Japanese in the shower. That's weird and honestly kind of gross. I like to put on something light, like a podcast or a YouTube video during my commute to work. But since I'm working from home today, my commute is just a 5-second walk to my desk. Whether I'm at home or in the office, this is the exact process I follow. I put on something that I've already immersed in and let it play in the background while I do my work. Since I've already seen or broken down that content, I don't need to give it my full attention. I'm just reinforcing the sounds and phrases. It's almost like background music, but in Japanese. So I've got a Japanese playthrough of Until Dawn that I've probably watched around 3 or 4 times. I've got to go for work now, but that'll probably keep me at bay until lunchtime. Alright, before I heat up my lunch, it's time to record today's YouTube short where I cover one new Japanese word a day. So I'm gonna get on that and I'll be right back. Alright, now that I've recorded my YouTube shorts and eaten some food, it's important to balance listening with some reading. So I have this book here and there's a few words I want to mine from it and make sentence cards for. So I would just take a picture. This first sentence here has some words that I want to know. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this text like so and go ahead and go through it. So machiawase, I just learned recently means a meeting or an arrangement, and I want to learn that and see how it's used in this sentence here. So I'm going to go ahead and click it and click make a card. And just like that, it's going to go ahead and make a flashcard for me. Now if I go over to Migaku Memory, I can go to my recently added cards and mined cards, and we can see the flashcard right here with a picture of my book and the definition. It even has the pitch accent as well as a reading of the sentence and a native speaker's pronunciation of the word. Before this, I was actually just typing in sentences into my Mac, word by word, and then saving them to Anki manually. But now with Migaku, I can actually take pictures of entire pages, copy the sentences, and make flashcards on the go, all straight out of my smartphone. Alright, so I've got about 10 to 15 extra minutes. I'm gonna use that time to write some scripts for some videos I'm dropping later this month. So I've got about 4 hours of work left, and unfortunately, I've come through every video in that playthrough that I know and love so well. Luckily, I was looking on Migaku. I happened to stumble across a YouTube video that I've never watched before, but as you can see, it says I can comprehend around 92% of it. That makes it perfect for background listening. So I'm gonna keep putting videos like this on until 5 p.m. and see if I can just keep reinforcing some words and phrases. Alright, so I've just finished with work for the day, and since the weather outside is actually pretty nice, instead of shutting myself in and trying to immerse for the rest of tonight, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go for a walk and try to find a restaurant to have dinner at, all while listening to Japanese. So I've just got off work, I'm about to grab some food, and the cool thing is I can listen while I walk or put on my favorite podcast. So I'm just gonna walk around and find a good restaurant to eat at. The immersion, it doesn't have to be intensive. It can happen in the background of your day. A few minutes here and there can really add up over time and get you up to as much as maybe 5 to 6 hours of listening throughout the day. A lot of people have this complaint that, oh, I don't want to sit inside all day and listen to Japanese. Well, I'm out here about to choose a restaurant to go eat at, taking an evening walk after work, and I've got my headphones on. I'm actually listening to one of my favorite podcasts, You Know, the Nihongo podcast, and it's great because you get all this exposure while also having you time. Even if I'm just zoning out or waiting for my food to come here, I've still got Japanese going in through my ears. Even if it's low effort, I still get a high amount of exposure to the language. This stuff may not feel like actual studying, but it helps you get used to the flow of Japanese, which actually makes active listening and studying way easier later on. All right, let's go get some food. Okay, so I just made it back from dinner, and I actually have some plans with some friends later at around 8 p.m., so as you can see, that gives me a good hour and a half to study. Now, when I get home, something I like to do every night is look at what flashcards I have in review and just go run through those. And for that, I use Migaku's memory feature. I try to learn 10 new words a day, and that leads to around 60 reviews per day. So going through those, here's what the typical flashcard would look like. We have teppen here, which means the peak, so I can just read through the sentence, see if I understand how it's being used. It actually clips the audio from the YouTube video. You can hear a native speaker pronouncing the word right here. Teppen. Down here we have the definition for the word as well as a screenshot from the YouTube video. There's also AI generated notes that provide context for the word and its nuance based on how it's being used. Something else I found useful since using Migaku is actually the pitch accent. We can see that the words are colored. Blue means heiban, meaning the words end flat, and red means atamadaka, which means it starts high and goes low. The brain is really good at associating colors with things, so through this, I've been seeing words in the wild and associating colors with them and knowing the pitch accents through that. So if you saw the orange progress line earlier, I've actually finished my reviews and now I'm left with 10 new cards. These are actually made from the content I've been watching recently, so they're going to feel very familiar and stick way easier. You may remember me snapping a picture of my book during lunchtime earlier using Migaku's OCR feature, and I made this exact flashcard. So we can see the word being presented to me on the front, machiawase basho, which means meeting spot. Machiawase basho wa Shimokitazawa no ekimae ni aru Zakkiyo biru datta. So that's the example sentence, and here is the definition. And here we can see the AI notes as well as the exact picture that I took on my phone. So we can go ahead and pass that. So I just finished that review session in about 7 minutes, and that's with 60 reviews and 10 new cards. The reason I was probably able to get this done so fast is because all that information is still fresh on my mind. These cards were created straight from content that I'm already watching, so the words, sentences, and everything feels really fresh. Now the cool thing about Migaku is it has a review system in place that'll show me these flashcards again when I'm prone to forgetting them, really testing and strengthening my memory. Alright, so now that I've got about an hour of free time left, I'm gonna go put on a Japanese YouTube video and start actively picking out words from it. So I know throughout this video, I've talked about passive listening. Now I want to do something a little bit more active. I'm watching this Minecraft playthrough in Japanese for the first time. I'm gonna go ahead and listen, and for any words that stand out, I'm gonna mark them and make flashcards out of them as I watch. Something I like about Migaku is before you even watch the video, it tells you what percent of it you can comprehend roughly. Going into it, it says I have about 69% comprehension. So for example here, this word tojo means to actually make an appearance on a stage or in a play. So I would just hover over it and press K for known. So I just finished watching the video, and since I've been studying Japanese before I started using Migaku, there's actually a good amount of words I already knew. Now for those unknown words, Migaku actually has some built-in dictionaries, both for monolingual and English to Japanese. You can also import your own from Yomitan. I have one of my personal favorite monolingual dictionaries installed. So for this word, for example, mo choi, it says mo chotto no kudaketa iikata, mo skoshi. So it's a more casual way of saying mo skoshi, or just a little bit more. The reason that I'm such a big fan of this is that when you pause to do lookups, you're still doing everything in Japanese. You're not breaking your immersion flow. Now that I've gone through and marked all the known words, what I can do is bring my mouse down here, click this filter button, and go to recommended sentences. Now these are all sentences that Migaku thinks are worth learning because they only contain one unknown word, and additionally, that one unknown word is quite common. So we can see here, for example, machinami. So I'm going to go ahead and untick this one since it appears twice. We can see now that I've got a total of 11 selected recommended sentences. So I'm going to go ahead and click create 11. So right now it's recording the audio for my flashcards as well as getting a screenshot. And now you can see all the flashcards are showing up under recently created, and they're saved to my mind cards deck. If you want to learn some of the less common words, you can also change from recommended sentences down to one unknown word and come here. A lot of these are going to be usually onomatopoeia or sound effects. So this is probably just them singing or humming along to a song in their heads. And if you want to scroll through and see if there's any sentences with more than just one word, you can of course switch to plus unknown words. I really like how Migaku almost gamifies the immersion process. We started out 69% comprehension before watching this video, and now that I've gone through, marked the words I know as known, and also made flashcards, we can see that comprehension has jumped up to 91%. It's a really good feeling, and now that if I go ahead and watch other Minecraft videos out there in Japanese, my comprehension is going to be a bit higher, and I'm already starting to build up my Minecraft lingo in Japanese. If you want to try out Migaku, you can head over to migaku.com/jareddesu to get 1 extra month for free on me on both the standard and early access plans. The link's also in the description. For all of my number nerds out there, myself included, here are my stats for the day. As you can see, balancing language learning while being a full-time employee or student is totally doable, even if you're doing content creation on top and of course maintaining a healthy social life. By no means should you feel pressured to stick to the exact routine I've laid out in this video. This is just something I found that works for me through trial and error and after burning out and quitting Japanese twice. There may be parts of this routine that you like and others you don't. I would say the only constant is that you have a clear goal for Japanese. What do you want to do with it? Where do you want to be? As long as you're staying consistent and staying motivated, you're going to make so much more progress than you ever thought you could. Thank you to my very first channel backer. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe, and YouTube thinks you'll like this video next. See ya.